Hey folks, in one of the exercises that I gave you, we were going over how to calculate growth. So I thought we would go over just a real quick exercise here on calculating reproductive growth. This is what we find in chapter 3 of the Darwin book, and that's where we're going to talk about how things just grow out of control. So we need two things. Now, first of all, we need the produced or the per lifetime generations. In other words, how many offspring does a certain pair of organisms produce in its lifetime? For example, say a pair of parents, some of your parents will only produce 2 of you, then that's 2. Some other animals will produce 20 in their lifetime. Now, number 2 is the number of generations, and that's how many generations do we want to count to see how this stuff grows. Now, of course, you can also calculate the average number of years. So let's do an example real quick to see. It's pretty easy. So we're going to do it with humans. Okay, and in this case, we've got 2 per life. We're just going to assume this, of course. This isn't always the case. And 5 generations. So we're just going to see what happens in 5 generations. And let me just write this out. Okay, 5 generations, and we're going to do a little diagram here. We're going to start with the parental units, and that's male and female. And they're going to branch out. First generation, they got 2. The second generation, they got 2, 3, 4. Third generation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've got 8. Generation 4 is a little more here. 16. Okay. And at this point, you should note that, we don't need to go any further with the diagrams, but we've got 16, so the next generation will be 32. Okay, let's try another example, this time with a dog. Okay, now a dog might have offspring, you might have 10 per life, and we're just going to look 5 generations forward. So let's go ahead and start. First generation will be 10. The second will be 100 and 1,000, 10,000, and 100,000. So as you've noticed, there's a pattern here, and we don't really need to do diagrams. We can actually just make a little formula. So first we're going to define our variables. One is offspring, and the other one's generations. And this will just be years, which in our dog example is 3 years. So to do this, we have a simple formula, which is just the offspring to the generations power gives us our counts. So in this case, 10 to the 5th power is 100,000. And that's in 5 generations. You're already going to have 100,000 dogs out there. How much would that be? Well, think about the fact that the generation here spans 3 years. So that's in 15 years. Yeah, 100,000 in 15 years. How about that? So let's try one last example. And this is with the example that Linnaeus, in the book where he's talking about Linnaeus, where we have 2 seeds and we have 20 generations or 20 years. This time we're going to make generations equal to years. Okay. And so the calculation's simple. 2 to the 20. And what is that? That's 1,048,576. So think about that. This is what we talk about when we talk about geometric growth. Now keep in mind, I'm making all of this very, very, very simple. There are a number of things that I am not covering here, and that by their nature, we cannot cover them. So this is just to keep it simple. I hope this helps you at least to understand how quickly these things can grow. We will later talk about things that limit growth, including growth curves and stuff like that. But for now, hope that helps, okay? Okay, take care. Bye.